we break the chains. It's more than talk, it's kingdom reign. Fire in our bones, His glory proclaimed. Righteously, unfiltered and unashamed. No fear in our flow, just think.
Welcome back to Righteously Unfiltered and Unshaken. I'm your host, Justice, and tonight we're diving into a topic that is heavy but so necessary: domestic violence. This episode titled Breaking the Silence, Survivor Stories. Too many voices have been silenced by fear, by shame, and by abuse, but tonight we're standing in courage, bringing those voices back to the forefront. Whether if you experienced it yourself, supported someone through it, or just want to understand it better, this space is for you. Before we start, I want to give you a quick trigger warning. We will be discussing topics like abuse, trauma, and survival. Please take care of yourself while listening. If at any point you feel overwhelmed, please pause this episode, breathe, and come back when you're ready. So as always, you guys know I have my girls with me. First, I'm going to bring Mimi to the stage. Hi, Mimi. Then I have for Rose. Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Then I have Nay. Hi, Nay.
Hey.
And lastly, we have Faith. Hi, Faith.
Hey. Before we begin, let me breathe a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we welcome you into this moment with open hearts and expectant spirit. Let your Holy Spirit flow through every word spoken and touch every heart listening. Use this podcast as a vessel to uplift the weary, challenge the complacent, heal the broken, and inspire the seeking. Let your truth rise above every distraction, and may your name be glorified in all that is shared. Wrap this space in your presence, silence every voice that's not yours, and prepare each listener to receive exactly what they need today. Speak, Lord. Your daughters and sons are listening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, let's dive into it. So, domestic violence is not just about bruises, it's about control, manipulation, fear, and silence. It impacts men, women, and children across all walks of life, and yet so many suffer in silence. Tonight, our goal is to shine light where there's darkness, to say, you are not alone, you are seen, you are worthy of healing. I also want to say this up front. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, please call 911. And if you need resources, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233. Okay, so let's get into the first question of the night, which is, can you share your story of survival in your own words?
I was a victim of domestic violence when I was married. And yes, domestic violence is definitely about control, but it also, at a point after a while, it starts to just break down your self-worth, your self-esteem. My story is just this. I married a man basically for convenience because I don't feel like he was ever in love with me, and nor did I feel like I knew what love really was in that regard. And so, in that situation, I was not only physically abused, I was emotionally abused, and I was verbally abused as well as sexually abused. And honestly, the only way I feel like I got out of that situation was I had a praying mother. And I thank God for having had a praying mother, because it got to a point where my doctor literally wanted to put me on antidepressants because things became so volatile, so bad. And, I stayed because I grew up with older parents. My parents were older, and my aunts and uncles, all of them were older. And if you've ever heard older folks say, well, if you make your bed, then you got to lay in it. So I took that to heart and thought that, well, since I married him, I got to stay here and deal with it. And I dealt with it for as long as I could. But when I saw that not only was it affecting me, it started to affect my child. At the time, I believe my oldest was 1, and I had not yet given birth to my youngest, but it was a lot. And once I started realizing that it was affecting my child, I was trying to find a way out. And I'm not going to tell you that it was easy, because it wasn't. But again, I thank God for a praying mother.
Anybody else wants to share?
What's the question again, please?
Can you share a story of survival in your own words?
Survival. Whew, okay. Survival can mean a numerous of things, especially when coming out of an abusive relationship, whether it was verbally, physically, mental abuse. Surviving is knowing who you are, like within yourself. Wait, am I supposed to explain what I feel survival mean, or
More so of your experiences with domestic violence.
domestic violence? All right, edit that out. I feel like I survived when I walked away. See, I don't like talking like a victim though, cause I put belt to A. I feel like we did our big one. So how can I make it relatable to them?
So, as for me, I was in, I'm going to say, a physical relationship. And the reason why I say it's a physical relationship for me and not really domestic violence is because I fought back. So we physically used to fight each other, because if you put your hands on me, I am going to put my hands back on you. So we will have a full blown out fight. When I was dating this individual was this individual was never allowed around my children, because again, when I was dating people, they did not get to meet my children. Period. When I'm with my children, don't come up to me, don't say anything to me. So they didn't get to meet them. So my children have no idea about this person. They only know about this person as they got older, and I told them about the person. I think they have one encounter with this person. So yeah, he used to get drunk. He used to get very intoxicated. When he got intoxicated, he became very abusive, and this must have been the norm for him, because he said that I was the only female that ever fought him back, and I will continue to fight you back as long as you continue to touch me. So what made me leave this individual, because remember, I dated this individual for I want to say a little over a year, and he never got to meet my children. What made me leave this individual is when he kicked my door in and he called himself fighting me. We again began to fight. My 3 children were present. They never met him, never laid eyes on him. One of my children grabbed a bottle, one was biting him on the leg, and one got a knife. So I said, yeah, I can't do this. So I left this individual alone. So now this individual didn't see me for 2 years, and I was sitting outside, and this individual decides that he wants to come and smack me. Bro, it's been 2 years, and you decide that you want to smack me? Okay. So again, we start fighting, because you're not going to put your hands on me. So I called the cops. Nope, someone else called the cops. Someone else called the cops or whatever, because they saw me getting the best of him. And my thing is, when he was getting the best of me, nobody wanted to get into it. But now you see a female beating up on a man, you want to get into it. Okay, I'm tired. So they called 911, and when the cops came, he told me to go downtown and get a restraining order. So I got my restraining order. You stay away from me, I'm going to stay away from you. But I just need to know any man that feels as though he's going to play the I can't beat you, but we're going to fight. And my daddy told me anything that's in the vicinity of me, pick it up. So my thing is, you can't remain silent. You cannot remain silent. In order to survive, you cannot remain silent because that's giving them power.
I totally agree. Because as long as I didn't say anything, it seemed like it kept on continuing. And it wasn't until I got tired that it it stopped.
You ladies are very strong. You guys are very strong. Anybody else wants to share?
I can say that my survival point was when I won't go into details because it's easy to put two and two together. However, my breaking point with this, my individual, was when he decided to put his hands on my mom in the midst. I believe that was an absolute no for me because I love my mama and I cherish my mama. And what I've endured behind closed doors was between me and my mama had no business. Like, he had no business involving my mama in it. And I just felt like that was an automatic no. However, nope, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there.
Sorry, guys. I think my Auntie Mimi is having technical difficulties. Auntie Mimi, I would try to force close the Facebook app because if you still have the Facebook app Messenger running in the background, then it will probably interfere with your mic. Because I see like you be taking your mic off, but we can't hear anything if you're talking. Okay, so for me, I want to share my story. I don't even know if this would be considered domestic violence. I mean, it was violence and altercations involved, but it was more so of I hit him first, and then he would try to hit me back, and then, like my mom said, pick up the closest thing that's to you and use it. But it didn't like continue as the relationship kept going forward. I just ended it because I've grown, he'd grown, we grown separate ways, and we realized that this is not compatible. But I have like many experience with domestic violence, just many, as in little.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Finally. All right. So I was saying that I won't downplay my experience. I was verbally abused, and I don't think that I realized what was happening. It was it was a narcissist that was handing down the abuse. So, sometimes they can be very smooth. I did not realize that that's what was happening to me. Um, but I got a lot of fight in me. So when I realized it, I started giving it back. And while that might not be like the ideal thing to do, it was a very long time that I had taken it, that I started to question myself. I started to question my abilities. I started to question my intelligence. I started to question like anything and everything. And I don't know, something in me it just snapped. And I'm like, I guess I came to the realization that of what I was thinking about. I became conscious of what I was thinking about myself. And I knew that wasn't right. And I fought back with the ammunition that I had, which was to give back what I was receiving. And what made me decide to end it all, aside from, the obvious other relationship issues, was my children. When we're having a screaming match or going back and forth and you're being condescending and disrespectful to me in front of my two girls, I didn't want them to think that that type of communication or language was acceptable as a young lady. And I also didn't want them to see me spewing it back out and thinking that it was okay as a young lady to speak that way to someone else. So I got out of it for the sake of my children. And I when you were speaking a minute ago, Justice, I thought about a time I called the police and I had the police come. I don't remember what transpired. It was never really physical, but it might have been this time, but I don't know to what extent. I called the police and those people told me that if he says that I hit him, like I said that he hit me, we both gonna go to jail. So I recanted my story because I could not go to jail. But apparently at that time it wasn't that bad or bad enough for me to have, gone further. But that is my only time experiencing any type of domestic or any type of abuse. And that's how I got out and why.
Okay, so my next question is, what were some of the biggest obstacles you faced in trying to break free?
All right. Well, I'll say what mine was. Where was I going to go with 2 children and how was I going to do it? I knew I needed to leave for the sake of my children, but I did not have the means to do so. I had a whole house and it became evident that the house wasn't even worth it. So, where there's a will, there's a way. And God made a way for me to go back to my grandparents' house and stay there for a while. But the reason that I stayed for so long before being able to do that, that's the exact reason. I did not have the means. I was not working. I was not working. And I think that's a lot of times why some people stay in, very serious domestic violent situation is because they don't either have the means to go by many senses of the word, but like financially or like another residence or, or fear. But my reason was because I didn't have the means.
Well, as I stated previously, I had grew up with the older folks who said when you make your bed, you lie in it. So I would have felt like, in my mind, I felt like a failure. I'm not going to say that's what it actually was, but in my mind, I felt like a failure. And then at a period of time, I had dropped out of college to marry him. And I wasn't working for a period of time. So he was the sole breadwinner. Now, it's not that I couldn't have asked a family member, but I had a problem asking people for help. I had a problem sharing what I was dealing with. So that also kept me from getting out it sooner than I should, sooner than later.
I would say for me, it was more so of a strong attachment that this person and I shared. And in my mind at the time, depression was trying to take over me. And I felt like, yes, I had people surrounding me and praying over me, but I only wanted to stay close.
Faith, would you like to go until Rose is ready?
What was the question?
What were some of the biggest obstacles you faced in trying to break free?
Honestly, I don't think there was an obstacle for me. Because I came with everything on my own. So I already had my own apartment. I already had a job. So I already had everything. Honestly, Lord, the only thing that kept me it was the sex. And
the sex.
I'm being honest. I heard these transparent, so I'm being honest because like he was the only person that put their hands on me and I stayed because when I had to fight you, that was another reason for me to leave too. So yeah, it was the sex. But when that happened with my children, that's where I drew the line. So it was a no for me. So yeah, I had to end it. But I don't there was no obstacle. I could have left anytime I wanted to. It honestly, it was just the sex that kept me there. He was a soul tie.
Okay, I have a question for the panel. Someone asked, what role did family, friends, or community play in your journey?
My brothers and that uncle of mine was ready to give him the business. They were very supportive. Heck, my mother was ready to give him the business. So my family was very supportive. They didn't judge me or anything, but they all was like, you deserve better and you need to leave. So yeah.
My family didn't know. They didn't know anything until after the fact. And I think they only knew after the fact because they kept praising him for whatever they thought he did. So I was like, well, let me tell you what. So that's the only way that they knew what I had experienced. It was already past tense. I was already out of it. Matter of fact, I may be fibbing. Hold on a second. I had a cousin of mine witness what was happening to me. And she was the only person because she was on the phone with me one time. And I was pregnant for the second time. And she heard everything while I was on the phone with her. But other than that, no one else knew.
Well, one particular incident that took place was actually I had both my kids at the time. I think my youngest was in a stroller, and we were arguing coming outside of the projects out of Grand Street, and he took a baby bottle full with formula and cereal, and threw it and bust my lip. So originally I tried to bust his windshield, but the rock bounced off. So he came up behind me and grabbed me by my neck, and he started choking me. As he was choking me, I flipped up a blade and I cut him. While that was taking place, his sister called the police and told the police that I was some crazy deranged crackhead attacking her brother. So didn't have really anybody out there at that time that was family. And I really think I never really told my brothers, thank God, because I really didn't want to see what would have transpired. But what happened was one of my cousins from up there found out about it. So when the cops eventually, I got locked up that night for it. My cousin found out, and he went to him to fight him. So that, and I just never shared it with my brothers. I definitely didn't tell my father because although he was a preacher, he was still a man, and I was still his daughter. So.
Okay. So it seems like what stands out most in all you guys' story is not just pain, but resilience or I want to say I'm getting so tongue twisted with this word. I want to say it's resilience. So survivors are some of the strongest people I know. It takes courage to survive, but it takes even more courage to speak out. So my next question is, how does abuse go beyond the physical to affect the mind and spirit?
Well, like I mentioned before, the verbal abuse that I encountered made me start questioning myself. In a sense, I guess I started to believe what he was saying about me, but I'm gonna say in my spirit, it didn't sit well, and maybe that's where my strength came from to resist those thoughts. I mean, it did take some time, but I think that's where my strength actually came from to resist it and to fight against it. That was not where my retaliation came from, but where I was able, my consciousness, I was able to realize what was happening and fight against it.
Mm-hmm. I lived with a lot of shame and guilt for a long time. And I constantly thought that for a while that all men were basically going to be the same way. So for me, it took a whole lot of prayer, but it also took me taking a step back and spending some time with myself and asking myself, what am I doing that's attracting that same type of person in different forms?
See, I only spoke about one little incident that I had that happened to me, right? But God just brought back to my remembrance of when I was laying in the bed, back turned against my youngest child father, because he wanted to argue that night. So I faced the wall and was going to sleep, and this man decided to choke me out while I was in the middle of going to sleep. So I hopped up so fast and tore this man every which way but loose. I am not going to sit here and act like I am sanctified and holy. I tore this man up. I tore him up so bad. I even cut him up and I bleached him up too. And what pissed me off even more was that I remembered Hasmir and Serenity running out in the room trying to see what all the commotion was. And I was like, oh, I can't really relate to this topic because I don't think I've been through it. And I just remember I have been through it. And because of that experience, like, I'm just like a aggressive type of female. So I'm the type, you're not going to come to me, just put your hands on me. That's not happening. But yeah, I just wanted to share that moment. So my next question is, how did you begin the process of healing after leaving that situation? Ooh, can I answer this? I found out I was pregnant and moved 2 hours away and was happily ever after.
Oh, God. Well, if that's what worked for you,
I'm just being honest here.
I know. All right, repeat the question for me. I want to get this right.
Yes, the question is, how did you begin the process of healing after leaving the situation?
I want to say it took me some time. Let me see. I want to say it took me after leaving. All right, this is what leaving took me out of his presence, took my children out of the presence, out of his presence and the presence of his foolishness, right? But it didn't stop the verbal abuse. It continued. And that's crazy because I didn't even think about this, but it literally continued for another 4 years because, and I say it continued for 4 years because the things that this man would either say on the phone or send in a text message, if I didn't, all right, so I guess for a long time after that, it really continued to get under my skin. It didn't affect me the same way, but it did affect me because it would get under my skin. I would reply back, I would try to respond each time because I had found Jesus and I was trying to walk in the light. I was trying to, the whole what would Jesus do? I tried to respond to him in a way that was pleasing to God. And the devil in that man would just, I don't know, just come against it like the devil would. But it continued until I decided to cut all communication off altogether. So I don't know that I had to like cope with it or deal with it or reverse anything within me. I mean, I had learned a long time ago that what he was saying wasn't the truth about me. I also learned a long time ago that he was letting the devil use him. And that's why he was coming like that, because that's not normal. That's not normal. You have to be a sick individual, a possessed individual, to be this nasty or this mean for absolutely no reason, unprovoked at that. So it took some time now that I'm thinking about it, but no lasting effects.
So I have a question. What in people's right state of mind will sit there and think it's okay for them to put their hands on their spouse or mate, regardless of the situation? Like, you could be arguing about bread and you just get slapped for getting the wrong type of bread. So, like, why do people think it's okay to do that?
For some people, is what they've grown up seeing in their own homes as children. And in some cases, some people were never taught how, some men or some women, should I say, were not taught how to treat their mate. Because it's not just men that are abusers, there are women that are abusers too. And then also, it's not just the physical, with the verbal abuse. It's sometimes how they were talked to growing up. Nobody ever probably said a kind word to them. Nobody probably showed them love. So that's all they grew up knowing. They were taught condescending too. So now they talk condescending to other people. So it could be a couple of reasons, but for me, I think a lot of it has to do with what they grew up in the home with, for the most part. But there are a lot of other reasons.
I think that that's true, Nay. I think that that's true. I also think that it's a control thing. Men and women who have a need to be in control of everything is a demon at the end of the day. It is what it is. I when you said, Justice, when you said buying the wrong bread and getting slapped for buying the wrong bread, it brought back another memory. I had asked, hey, you want to take the kids to the park one, like later on, and I got called a stupid bitch for like pretty much even suggesting something like that. But oh boy went outside, he smoked, he came back in the house, and he like, yeah, so you want to take the kids to the park? No, I do not. You just blessed me out. You just called me out of my name for suggesting it. You went and smoked some weed and came back a whole different person, Jekyll and Hyde. But a lot of times I think people are abusive because they want to have their way, and because they have this control, this need to control, entitlement. They have entitlement issues, control issues, and there was something else I wanted to say, and I can't even remember what it was. As to why fear. They want to have like a fear tactic. They want to scare you into doing what they want you to do, how they want you to do it.
So to add to that, Mimi, I'm also going to say, excuse me, unhealed wound, brokenness, because a lot of them are broken, and instead of dealing with their pain, they take their pain out on someone else. So, for example, the person that I was with, that I had the physical relationship with, he had a problem with his mother. His mother was deceased, so whatever the issue is with his mom can never be fixed because she's deceased. So it was like he had a lack of respect for women, period. To the point where after we separated, I remember meeting someone, I want to say maybe 3 years after we separated. And when they said my name, the person was like, wow, that's not a common name. Do you know such and such? So I said, unfortunately. And they were like, oh, you look good, because y'all just broke up, right? And I'm like, what do you mean I look good? So they were like, oh, because he said when he left you turned into a crackhead because y'all just broke up. Man, we broke up over 3 years ago. And the mere fact that he's talking about me like I'm present, like we just broke up, is crazy to me. And to say that I was a crackhead because you left me, I left you, sir. And the only drug I did was alcohol. So I'm going to say the brokenness and not being able to fix that, they're masking their own pain, along with everything that Mimi and they said.
So my next question is, while after enduring that domestic violence situation that you guys, we all apparently on a panel experience, did it stop you for a while wanting to meet someone and get into a new relationship?
I'm gonna say no. The only reason I can say no is because before him, I had none of this. So I knew that, this is one situation out of a few relationships that I've had, and I've never endured this or experienced this before. So that made me know that maybe it's just him. This is not everybody. And then the fact that my best friend is who I ended up marrying or being with, where it was very comfortable, very familiar. And, I can't say if I would have dealt with anyone else, but I wasn't afraid to move on or be in a relationship again. Nope. I knew to watch out for nutcases like him, though.
It's a no for me as well. And that's because I understand that the abuse didn't, even though the abuse happened in the past, it didn't dictate my future. I also understood that love was still possible. Trust was still possible. And I'm a firm believer in allowing people to make their own mistakes. I cannot judge the next person off the mistakes of someone in my past. So no, it wasn't hard for me.
For me, I'm gonna say yes. Because for a little bit, I kind of second guessed, but I also had to take a little step back and again ask myself the question. I actually asked myself, why was I becoming a trash magnet? It seemed like I was attracting the same type of person in a different body. So for a little while, yeah, and I was blaming myself, and I was just like wondering if I should just stay to myself for a little while. I think it was more or less that I was afraid to spend time with myself. So that was something I needed to conquer first in order for me not to fear getting into another relationship. I needed to know Nathan Lee. I needed to know what Nay needed, what was good for Nay. And I hadn't taken time to discover that because I was so busy wanting to be in a relationship, but not knowing how to be in a relationship, because that wasn't a relationship. It was not two people coming together as one. It was like a dictatorship. It was his way or no way. So I had to search myself. So for me, yeah, I did have some issues with going into other, because what I asked myself, was this one going to be worse than that one? Or if it wasn't physical, would it be sexual? If it wasn't sexual, would it be verbal? If it wasn't verbal, would it be emotional? So I had a lot of questions, and I was always somewhat an overthinker. So yes, I did have.
Okay, so my next question is, what warning signs of domestic violence often go unnoticed in a relationship?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Yes. What warning signs of domestic violence often go unnoticed in a relationship?
For me, what sign I've noticed, even like beforehand, was how he was unable to control his anger. So like to me, I would like, casually have conversations with him, but with him, he would show and act on his anger, and then it was just hell from there.
I agree, Rose. Walking on eggshells, scared to say anything because it might be the wrong thing to say that might set them off. Or, like asking to go to the park and getting called out of your name. Yeah, those are sure signs that, that there's a problem. You should not be uncomfortable or tiptoeing or afraid or apprehensive about having a conversation or a discussion or being around anybody you're supposed to be in a relationship with.
I would say dismissal of your feelings. Like they were only concerned with how they felt. When you tried to speak with them regarding what you were feeling, it always to them seemed like it was an argument. The dismissal of what you were feeling and what you were thinking. It was only thing that mattered was what they felt and what they think.
Ooh, child, we got a whole list. It's a whole list that red flags. Excessive jealousy disguised as love. Oh, I just care about you so much. That's why I act like that. Constant criticism. You have trying to control the money You have the ones that my personal favorite. If you leave me, I'm gonna kill myself. Like it's the list is unlimited.
Yes, Lord. I could
That
agree.
that manipulation
Mm-hmm.
is something. That's crazy. I just thought about that since you said all of that. I had somebody say that they was gonna do that before. I'll kill myself if you leave me. All right, then you're gonna have to just, and appeared at my house with all these cuts all over like his chest and his stomach and his shirt ripped up. And I'm like, this looks self-inflicted, sir. Nobody did this to you. You didn't get attacked so you could come back to my house. That was manipulation all day.
Indeed.
I had one that decided he was gonna take a bottle of pills or pretend to take a bottle of pills. So he gonna take his life, and then he didn't even take the pills. As I walking outside, I see the pills all in a trail going down the street.
A trail of pills is wild, crazy. Hey, what you do?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything except tell him it was done. It's time to let it go. And he said he wanted to kill himself. Okay.
Just please don't do it on my property. Whatever you do, go on and kill yourself.
The sad part, he was at he had came to my parents' house when he said it. And he had the bottle of pills. Oh, I'm just gonna kill. Okay. And I left out the house. I went for a walk. As I'm walking out, some said, look down. I looked down, a trail of pills going down the street. So you needed sympathy. I don't have any for you.
And let's not forget about those men who try to isolate you. Oh, you don't need to be with your family. Don't go by this person's house. Don't go by that person's house. All you need is
Listen. My baby was a newborn. This was his child too. My baby was a newborn, and she was colicky, and I'm a first-time mother. Homeboy worked nights, 11 to 7. That baby cried from 10:55 until 5 a.m. in the morning. So I started going up to my mom's house to stay. You know, this man had a problem with it. Why does it bother you? First of all, Negro, you ain't home. Why is it an issue for you? Like a whole attitude, like
because they think that when you get with your family that you're going to tell them what's going on. Because remember, silence gives them power. As long as you're silent and you don't tell anyone and nobody know what you're going through, it gives the abuser power.
Right.
You take that power away from them once you let somebody know what's going on.
And get strength from somebody else probably help. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just couldn't understand. Like, at that time, it just didn't make any sense. Like, she's crying all the time. You're not here to see it, hear it, nothing.
Auntie Mimi, you good? Because I would have told him, you go ahead, take little Beetlejuice right with you to work there.
You know what? My baby wasn't a Beetlejuice, so I wasn't gonna call her that. But I mean, I didn't stop going to my mother's house, but it was just amazing. Like, you had a problem with it. After a while, y'all gotta remember, after a while, I stopped listening to that man because you're not here to handle it or take care of it. So you don't have a stake. You don't have nothing to say about this.
Yep, you got the ones that only want you to go around their family. They don't want you around your family, but they want you to go around their family. Supposedly, I guess, to have their family baby watch you, make sure you're not doing nothing, like so they can do what they do.
Child, I ain't had that problem either because that man didn't go around his family either.
Oh well. Everybody know me and know I love my family. I'm not being with nobody that tell me I can't be around my family. You got the game twisted on me. Not happening.
Yep, absolutely. This is what we do on Fridays. I go to my grandmother's house. We hang out. This is what we do. You don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
And I tell them quick, I'm gonna fight you back, but I'm gonna tell my brothers, and you better hope they don't see you. Because oh boy, he used to run. My brother was like, I'm gonna catch him.
Let me tell you how manipulative. See, this is why we having this conversation. Let me tell you how manipulative this person was. We getting on the whole child support thing. I had taken this person. I took this man off of child support. He bought himself a whole new car because I took him off child support. He done claimed one of the girls, everything. He got money. He got himself a car. I go to my grandma's house to talking to my uncle, and he says that this man told him that he can't get nothing or do nothing because I got him on child support. I said, wait a minute. I said, say what now? He said, yeah, take that man on child support, man. They ruin your life. They do this, they do. I said, he's not on child support. I said, how you think he got that car out there? You saw his car? Yeah, I saw his car. Yeah, that's how he got it. I don't have him on child support. But I'm glad you reminded me because he ain't been doing his part. So he about to go back on. You try to manipulate me and my family, and then turn around and got yourself back in the system. You're welcome.
In the process of him trying to manipulate you, he manipulated his own self. Okay.
Ain't that something? Well, I was a bitter baby mama. I don't understand how, but I was a bitter baby mama. I only put him on child support when I got mad at him.
Because the kids was only hungry when you got mad at them.
Yeah, that's the only time they was hungry. That's the only time they needed Pampers or anything. When I was mad at them.
Well, man, I can do you one better. I was a bitter baby mama, and I never had child support.
Oh my gosh.
Never.
Ooh. Well, y'all don't want me to get on with that whole thing. This man done paid for my house, cars.
Oh yeah, he
all everything. You let him tell it. Oh, Jesus. Manipulation is something.
I said, I'm a bitter baby mama. It don't have nothing to do with the fact that they didn't see you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 years.
Right.
That got nothing to do with it. Okay. To the point where we came to the state. He ended up moving to the state where my family was. We go there, and my daughter comes crying to me that she wants to go to the McDonald's. And I have to pay for it. Are you kidding me? But I'm a bitter baby mama.
You can't be bitter and pay for the McDonald's too.
Oh, we travel all the way to Memphis, Tennessee, just so you can take my child and Mickey D's, and now I gotta pay for it. But I'm the bitter baby mama. Okay.
Well, I'm always the bitter baby mama. Bitter baby mama that don't ask for not a lick of nothing. Just do what I gotta do, and I'm still bitter. Leave it up to them.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and keep being bitter until that oldest one finish college, and that youngest one finish college too. When she get there, I'm just gonna be bitter until they 23, 24 years old. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Call me what you want. Just pay me.
I know that's right.
All right, so I have a question for the panel. Someone asked, why do you think so many survivors remain silent for so long?
Whew. It could be a couple of reasons. Because you have people out here who've not been through the situation, have not been through domestic violence, and they try to minimize. So that's a reason for some people being silent. Me, I chose to, once I was out of it, I ain't really care to talk about it unless I was talking about it with my spiritual sisters, or if I needed to have a conversation with somebody I might have been dealing with. But other than that, I felt like when God freed me, when he brought me up out of Egypt, I just wanted to stay out of Egypt.
I can't answer that question because I ain't stay silent. I told it all. Every chance I got, I didn't keep that to myself.
As for me, I stayed silent because of retaliation. So it was like he would purposely threaten those that I love most, and that's why I kept it to myself for so long. But it wasn't until I was finally free to come clean and open up about the other times after that one major time.
It's funny how he threatened you with people you love when he told you to call your brother off. But we're gonna leave.
Block that T.
So as for me, I told it all. Okay. I'm gonna tell it all. I always said stress would never be for me because anybody that's gonna listen, I'm gonna tell. However, with being a life coach, a lot of people don't tell because they have a fear of not being believed. Like they don't think people is going to believe them that, they're being abused. Like Rose said, they have a fear of retaliation. Some do it because some keep it to themselves because of the shame. And within that shame, they end up self-blaming, like it's their fault. And I need every person to know and understand. If you're in an abusive relationship, it is never your fault. It is indeed the fault of that abuser for physically, emotionally, verbally, financially, however he's abusing you or she's abusing you. It is their fault. It is never your fault. And again, you have to stop remaining silent because silent is indeed their power.
All right, so my next question is, did your faith or spirituality play a role in your healing journey? If so, how?
No, it did not. That's what was in my backside of days that I was partying with the devil. So no, it did not.
Yep. For me, yes, I cannot wear. For me, yes. Because like I said earlier, I found Jesus. I mean, he wasn't lost, but you know what I mean. And I was trying to handle this better than I had in the past, because prior I gave what I got. My tongue became lethal, and I saw myself being just like him, but I knew that wasn't right. So, you know, instead of trying to deal with somebody who doesn't seem to have a bit of Christ in them, the best thing for me to have done to protect my peace and to not respond unchrist-like was to cut him off. And it's because I knew better, that I was able at that time to do better. And then I had my husband also, who wasn't necessarily my husband at the time, but to, you know, help me through. And I actually was trying to protect my husband as well, because letting him know what was being said to me was only riling him up. And, you know, that don't feel good. If somebody's talking down to your woman, you want to approach or handle. So, yeah. But mostly because that was the Holy Spirit. Because my flesh would want to keep going. My flesh wouldn't have wanted to block that man. I want to keep going toe to toe, blow for blow. But I chose to handle it different.
Well, I will say spirituality and faith, but it wasn't mine. It was my mother. My mother was praying. I always tell people my mother got her PhD in neology because of me. It wasn't. I am so thankful and grateful for all them prayers that my mother prayed. Those prayers helped me out a lot. It definitely wasn't my spirituality, because during that time, again, even though I was in the abuse, I was also a part of the abuse, because as I stated earlier, I did cut him. Not to mention we had a few, you know, altercations once he caught a space heat upside the head, you know. But thank God for a praying mother. That's all I can say.
Well, while you was thanking God for a praying mother, I was thanking God for a mother to teach me how to fight.
I cannot. I cannot.
Listen, and I ain't mad at that.
Nope.
Because see, even though our stories are somewhat serious, there are women and men who have gone through even worse trauma. They didn't make it out of it. They didn't make it even out of the abuse.
Right.
Yep.
You know, I have a sister that I lost. She was from Boston. Got with a man. They were supposed to get married. This man ended up draining her entire bank account, taking her car. She ended up in a homeless shelter. She pretty much died alone of a severe asthma attack in a shelter. And I don't know if this man physically abused her, but he was abusing her nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, sometimes people don't make it out, but it's by the grace of God. You know, we all made it out, regardless of how we made it out, but we made it out. But there are those who haven't made it out. There's still some out here now that don't even know how they're going to get out. And then you have people that, they just being dramatic. They being a cat. No, unless you're in that situation, you don't know what a person is dealing with. You don't know what their mindset is.
Especially if someone because a lot of them that abuse, you don't know if they'll graduate to take the person out. Mm-hmm. So they can't even count on the police officers to protect them. So a lot of them stay because of the children. Mm-hmm. Like if I leave something to happen, it's so many reasons. And when people always ask, well, why don't you just leave? That let me know right then there, you've never been in an abusive relationship.
Mm-mm. Nope.
To ask the person, how about you offer them help? How about you open up your home to them to let them know you can't? But then again, you don't know what type of person they dealing with. Will that person come and burn up everybody in the
Right.
house?
Right.
You're
So
right.
you don't know why people stay, and I cringe when people ask that question. But why do you stay?
Right.
Soul ties are very strong.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
So even through abuse, that could be the one of the key elements of why they're staying. They're connected, and
Right.
sometimes people don't know how to cut that off.
Right. And then when some try to leave, you have those that might stalk them. And you have those cases where they try to leave, and they end up being stalked and still end up murdered because nobody took them serious. And people thought they were dramatic.
I'm glad you said that. I don't remember what state it was in, but I just read somewhere recently where the guy, she left her abusive husband, got a divorce. He was stalking her.
Yep.
Police didn't do anything. This man goes in the hospital with his lady work, shoot and kills her. How, Sway? How?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, come on. I remember a few years ago in Patterson when the lady on Governor Street, she had a restraining order on him. He climbed the fire escape into her bedroom. How?
Yeah, exactly.
How?
Because restraining orders don't work.
No.
And they don't want to do anything unless something actually happens. Yep. They don't want to do no preventative anything. Like they wait until something happens in order to allow you to get the restraining order, and then they don't enforce the restraining order.
Right. Which is crazy. So with me, I had the restraining order, and like me and this dude never like bumped heads. We never crossed paths for those years after I got my restraining order. And I remember I had left and I had went down south and I went to my grandmother's funeral. And now I'm with my husband, and he even knew who I was with. So that tells me you was watching me or you got somebody watching me, because if we never crossed paths, how you know that I'm with my husband, which was weird to me. So I'm like, he calls me and says to me, he was like, babe, I'm telling you now. He was like, this dude talking about something, he got something to say to you. And I told him that you my woman now. And if he even dared to go in the vicinity of you, I'm going to knock him out. And then he gonna go to jail because he violated the restraining order. And it was like I never heard anything about him again. But like, how do you know who I'm with if you haven't seen me in years?
He's been stalking you.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's the thing. People don't take it serious. Then you have some women who are in the situation because their mind is so messed up from being in the situation. They tend to at points think that the abuse is love, and it's not. It really is.
And you know, there's it's so easy for some of them to fall head over heels all over again with the same person who just put you on your behind. Because all he has to say is like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, I won't do it again, and then they do it again, and they say the same thing over and over again. So how many I won't do that again do you continue to believe? Staying because it's what you know, what you may be used to, or you know, you find like that soul tie is, you know, one thing, but you keep believing the lie. They keep lying. Believe what they do and watch what they say.
I agree.
Because they always gonna show you the opposite of what comes out of their mouth.
I also believe that some of the women or men for that matter that stay in an abusive relationship is because they saw the abuse growing up. So I always say you train your children by what they see in the household as they're growing up. So if they're in abusive, if their parents are abusive, always fighting, always arguing, always bickering, either one or two things gonna happen. Either they're gonna allow themselves to be abused in that way, or they're going to be the abuser themselves. How do I know? My mother was verbally abusive to my father. Growing up, all my mother used to just curse my daddy out all the time and everything like that. So I became that person with the guys I dated. I was horrible. My mouth was reckless. The only one that didn't tolerate that was my husband. So he was totally different for what, I don't know. It was like the guys I dated was like weakling. I was a dude in the relationship. Until my husband, it was like, yeah, you're not going to talk to me that way. And I'm looking at him like, bro, who do you think you are? You don't know who I am? You didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
So it was different for me because he put his foot down. Like, I don't disrespect you. You're not going to disrespect me. We're not doing that. But with the other ones, it was like whatever I say, it was like it was what it was. And that's because that's what I saw growing up. So I always say and I think that's why I didn't allow people to meet my children. So you're not gonna see what type of relationship I had with this person, and you're not gonna see that. And it's crazy because as they got older, we were having a discussion. I was like, how many people y'all remember me dating? So they was like, only two, which is their biological father and my husband. And they was like, we weren't born when you was with my brother's father, but we know that he exists because my brother's here. And I'm laughing at them like I have my friends, but nobody got to meet my children because I'm not teaching them that. So the only one they got to see was my husband. I'm like, my thing now is, you know what a good man is. You need to compare the people you date with your dad. If they fall short, they ain't it. What you want to waste 2, 3, 4, 5 years for? For what? You know what you want in a relationship. If they not bringing that, bye. Next.
Yep. But the manipulators and the abusers, they know how to target the self-conscious, maybe even like low self-esteem. You know, they know who to target. And if that's not the case, a lot of times by the time they get done with you, it is. So, you know, women have to be strong in their mental and in their emotions and in their, you know, you just gotta know who you are before dealing with somebody, because these people, men or women, can break you down if you allow it. You can become somebody totally different than what you thought or who you thought you were. So they prey on who they feel are weak. And I think that's what that man that I was with thought he was gonna get. I don't know who told him all of that. Like I said, I never showed it, but you know, behind the scenes, I was questioning myself because of what he was saying about me to me. But I never let him know that. I just didn't know where my face or my attitude said, yeah, say whatever you want to me and I'm gonna let it be all right. It's gonna be okay and I'm just gonna take it. But he tried it anyway.
Maybe that brings me to remembrance. Like when I do the life coaching and the ones that come to me for me, one of the main questions they'll ask is, should I leave? It don't necessarily have to be abuse. They just ask, should they leave? So my thing is, I can't tell you when to leave. Only you know when you should leave. However, the Bible does give us a blueprint on what love is. So my suggestion to you is to go to 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, go through it line by line, and it will tell you if your relationship is really based on love.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't think what I was experiencing then was a drop of love. There was no patience, no kindness, no goodness, no gentleness, no nothing. No nothing.
All right, so my next question is moving. All right. What advice would you give to someone who wants to support a loved one but doesn't know?
I would, all right, so I guess I could tell what I would do. I would give them a safe space. I would be their safe space. Like allow them to open up with no judgment and probably like literally just be a listening ear. Just so that they're comfortable enough. And then, you know, once I know enough, or, you know, once I see where their head is at, because honestly speaking, sometimes people in those situations are not necessarily ready to leave. So, you know, to keep offering a space or, you know, for them to come and stay or anything like that, that if there's a time for it. And I think once they are comfortable enough, or once you've heard enough of what they're going through, you can pretty much gauge it. And once they're, you know, it's building that comfort level, I think. Because for somebody to tell you that they're being abused currently, I can't imagine that being an easy thing to do. Like I said, I don't want to downplay verbal abuse because it is abuse nonetheless, but I didn't experience anything more than that. So I wouldn't know how I would have responded, or if I would have been so open about it if it was anything, you know, more drastic or anything more than what I experienced. So I think just, you know, allowing them to be able to come to you to talk, that's a huge step and possibly in the right direction.
Agreed. And I'm going to add to that. I believe that Everyone that's in an abusive relationship should always have a safety plan. You need the extra set of clothes, the money, the documentation, and everything in the event that you need to get out quickly. Whatever you do not blame them. Do not tell them it's your fault, why you still there, why you don't. No, no, no. Let them know that you believe them and that you're here for them and that you understand that everything is in their timing. Because the worst thing you could do is try to make them leave before they're ready to leave. Because that's another form of control, which they probably already in, because most abusers are controlling. So you're going to respect, I'm going to respect your time. I believe everything you're saying. I'm here for you. And have them help them with an escape plan in the event that they have to leave quickly.
I agree with both Mimi and Faith.
Okay, so there's a question on the floor for the panel. And the question is, what message of hope would you want others to hear who are still in the middle of their battle?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question for me, please?
What message of hope that you would want others to hear who are still in the middle of their battle?
I would say I was taught to, I'm not sure if I'm saying these correctly, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's something in the essence of watch his words and listen to his actions. Yes, watch his words and listen to his actions, I believe. Because yes, words could go a long way. However, his emotions behind what he say and how he react to behind what he say can always be an issue, because it's never what he say or what she say, it's how they say it. And typically before physical abuse starts, whether it's from a man or a woman, it's usually it starts as verbal abusive. And some people try and see how far they can get. Do not allow them to get far with you. Get out as soon as possible. It is hard, but you're stronger than you think you are. That's my word.
Let me piggyback off of that. You said that not like a lot of times physical abuse starts out as verbal. And I'm going to tell you what I told my girls. Don't play fight with no boy or no man, because that's their way of gauging how strong you are. So we don't play those games. No slap boxing with a man. No. And this is from me raising girls. Not to say that, it can't be vice versa, but that's number one. Number two, know what you want. Know what you want. Know if do you want to stay? Do you want different? Do you want better? And then decide. Decide. Think about yourself. And I feel like this is a time for anybody to be selfish. Think about yourself and what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, where you want to be. Because I doubt very seriously that anybody wants to experience any type of abuse long term. It's not your end, but you have to think about a new beginning.
Also, can I piggyback off that right quick? I just heard. Usually I always say, an apology means nothing without change behavior. So all of those, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, and then it happens again and again and again. He's not sorry at all. Like, it's just, she's not sorry at all. If they constantly apologizing, do you really believe that they are apologizing for what they've done? No. No, absolutely not. Please do not believe in that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It'll never happen again. Those are all lies to cover up their actions. Because trust and believe it's going to happen again. And every time it happens again, it gets worse and worse and worse. A sorry means nothing. An apology, as in general, means nothing without change behavior. And we don't even want the behavior to change. We just want you to be strong enough to pack your stuff and get the step in.
So I just want them to remember, you are not what was done to you. You are not the lies you've been told. You are worthy of love, safety, peace, and joy. The battle you are in right now will not last forever. Your story is still being written, and freedom is still ahead of you. Hold on. Healing is possible. Wholeness is possible. And hope is stronger than fear.
Amen. Praise the Lord. And to piggyback off of each one of my sisters, just anybody that's still in a situation of abuse, just know that you're not alone. You're not forgotten. And just don't allow that manipulation to do permanent damage. You know, you are God. Know that you are loved by God and you are his beloved child. He created you in his image and you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Okay, so my next question is, how can the justice system be improved to better protect survivors and hold abusers accountable?
Child, they could start by taking it seriously enough to do something about it before it gets out of hand. When somebody comes and makes a report about somebody violating them in some way or shape or fashion, it needs to be on record and it needs to be investigated. It's called preventative maintenance. Stop trying to take care of stuff. First of all, by the time they try to take care of it afterwards, is sometimes too late, and it could have been avoided. So I just think that the justice system, if there is such a thing, needs to start taking these reports more seriously and consider if it was their family.
I agree. And to add to that, I just think that people need to start suing. Start suing the police department for not doing their job and taking care of you. Especially if you already have one in place and you call to tell them and they taking 20 and 30 or 40 minutes to get to you. Start holding them accountable.
They need to protect and serve. They're not protecting nothing and they ain't serving these abusers anything. That's the problem right there in itself. Protect and serve.
Good Lord.
But then our families to be wrong if they do street justice, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well,
Sound like y'all encouraging them to go ahead and just sue up north. They'll be the ones that take 40 minutes to get to a call.
40 minutes to an hour, and then they don't take it serious. They don't take it serious. Oh, God. I agree with both Faith, Mimi, and all three roles. Accountability. The whole department. And even the legal system. All of them need to be held accountable.
Absolutely. Because if I'm calling 911 telling you I have a restraining order on such and such, and they're trying to kick my door in right now, and you take 20 minutes to get there and they don't kick my door in and got to me, I have a problem with that. Because I did my due diligence by calling you and telling you it should not take you that long to get there. But if I had told you I had Dunkin' Donuts, maybe that's what we need to say. Just say you got a dozen donuts.
Coffee.
Oh my God. Oh shoot.
Well, good thing, Faith, we don't have to worry about that down here because they come to you in less than a matter of literally 2 seconds. I had to call the police a couple of months ago because I mistakenly locked myself out of the house and we were just outside having a ball trying to figure out how I'm going to get back inside the house to get the car keys to go to work. So down here, we ain't got to worry about it. They come to a call in a matter of 2 seconds. It's up there. That's the problem. Last question for the panel. Someone asks, what steps can we take as a community to break the cycle of generational abuse?
Honestly speaking, it can start with us, right? Maybe the younger ones, because maybe younger people. It can start with the next generation because honestly, every generation should be improving. That's what I would love to see. We should start improving and not staying stagnant and staying in the same spot or doing the same things that the people before us were doing. So do better. If you have to decide what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to deal with. The children are watching. This is how we break cycles. Somebody has to be the change. Somebody has to decide not to allow what they saw their mother or grandmother allowing. You don't have to accept those same things. If it made you feel uncomfortable to witness or to hear, it should make you uncomfortable to be in it. So all I can really say is you just have to do your best to do better than what your mom or your grandmom or your aunt or your godmother or your best friend's mother. You have to want to do better and teach your children to want and do better so that they can teach their children, and it should just get better and better and improve. And that may be in a world called perfect, but that's what I would love to see in our community as African Americans or Black people, however you want to call it, because I don't know what everybody else is doing in their family or in their community.
It starts by us as parents validating our children young, letting them know their self-worth and their value. As well as parents, we should be the representation of love that we wish for our children to see.
So I believe that we need to create safe spaces for people to let them know that we're there. And it needs to be a judgment-free safe space. Let me repeat that again. A judgment-free safe space. We also need to model healthy relationships. So as Mimi and they both said about the children, if we model the healthy relationship, because we all know children learn from what they see. I cannot keep reiterating that as much. They learn by what they see. So if we as parents model a healthy relationship and show like you can have a disagreement, but you don't have to become disrespectful. If we show them what a real healthy relationship is, then they will in turn know what to look for and know not to settle for anything less. But for the ones that's already in it, we have to create them. Again, we have to create them a safe space. They need to know that someone is there. They need to know and understand that they're not the only one that's going through this. They're not the first. They won't be the last. However, they believe that they are the only. Let me repeat that. They're not the first. They're not going to be the last. But for some reason, they think that they're the only. And they're not the only one that's going through it, because when one hurt, we all hurt. So as a community, yes, we definitely need to come together and give them and create safe spaces for them.
Can I bounce back in here real quick? I think it was Nate that said something that triggered this for me too. Encourage, uplift our young ladies and men, correct them when they're wrong, as well as reassuring them of who and whose they are. Affirmations, devotions, scripture, anything to help them to be able to be confident in themselves, because we too have to remember that it's not just like domestic violence that these children may see. They may be experiencing some type of abuse even at school, because children can be pretty mean, but if they know who and whose they are, they can stand firm on that and not be swayed by what somebody may say about them, and then learn to reject anything negative being thrown at them at an early age. Although it may be difficult, but it has to start somewhere.
All right, so this is our closing round. So, as always, you guys could, say encouraging words, your sermon, poem, anything that floats your boat. If you don't know what to say, you can answer this question for your closing round, which is, what would you say to someone listening right now who is afraid to leave? So me, I would say, you are worthy, you are strong, you are not who they say you are. You don't have to take the shenanigans from these people. I know it's going to be hard to leave because you're worried about starting over, or you're worried about how your kid's going to manage, but everything will be A-okay. And trust God in the process. Hear God, learn God for yourself so that He can order your steps and tell you which way and how to go.
I would say to someone, you are not the trauma that you've gone through or that you're going through. You are who God created you to be. You are wonderful, you are special, and you are loved.
For my last words, I would like. Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes. What would you say to someone who is listening right now who is afraid to leave?
I would encourage you to pray, because if you have a strong soul tie with this person who is abusing you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it is hard to just walk away. And sometimes you may feel like you like this person own you, but I need you to pray and have people surrounding you pray for you to break that soul tie and that attachment that you have with that person, so that you can escape before it's too late. Amen.
Auntie Mimi.
My apologies. So I would say to someone in such a relationship where children are not involved, to love yourself enough to lead. And it's okay to be selfish and think about yourself. The same will go, I would say the same to someone with children, but I would also say the worst thing you can do is stay for the children. Your children need to see you be your best self. And to piggyback off of Rose, the prayer part, reach out for prayer. If you don't know what to say, how to say it, reach out to someone or some people that can pray with you and for you, so that we can all touch and agree on what it is that you desire. Be open about what it is that you want, so that we're all on the same page. You want to pray for God to make a way for you. You want to pray for God to, remove this person from your life, remove you out of the situation, however it is that you want to pray about it, or whatever it is that you want, you need to reach out, so that you can have more than just yourself. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, and God hears. God hears. So get some people to help send up prayers for you.
Domestic violence leaves scars far beyond what the eye can see. It attacks confidence, dignity, and self-worth, often trapping survivors in cycles of fear and silence. But silence is where abuse gains its power. Silence allows shame to grow, and silence convinces the victim their voice doesn't matter. Breaking the silence is not easy, but it's powerful. It's the first step toward healing, justice, and freedom. Speaking out is not about airing shame. It's about reclaiming identity. It says, I will not carry this alone. My life matters. My voice matters. To anyone who has suffered in silence, you are not weak. You are not to blame. And you are not worthy. You are worthy of love, safety, and respect. You deserve relationships that nurture you, not ones that harm you. Speaking up does not make you a burden. It makes you courageous. To those who have found healing and freedom, your story holds power. What once tried to break you can now be a tool to build others up. By sharing your truth, you give strength to those still trapped in silence, my God. You show them it's possible to survive, to heal, and to live again. Into the communities, families, and faith spaces, breaking the silence also means breaking the culture that tolerates abuse. It means listening without judgment, believing survivors, improving safe places where voices can be heard and lives can be rebuilt. Silence protects the abuser, but truth frees the survivor. Every time the silence is broken, another chain falls, another cycle is interrupted, and another life begins to step into freedom. So let's break the silence together. Let's choose to believe, to support, and to stand with those who are finding their voices. Because when silence is broken, healing has room to begin and hope has space to grow. Here's the survivor's declaration of breaking the silence. Speak this daily. Speak it until you believe it. Let these words drown out the lies of fear and shame. I am not what happened to me. I am not weak, broken, or worthless. I am strong, resilient, and rising every day. My voice matters, and I choose to use it. I release the shame that never belongs to me. I will not carry the weight of silence any longer. I deserve love, safety, and respect in every space I enter. My past does not define me. My future belongs to me. I am worthy of healing, worthy of peace, and worthy of joy. And today, I walk in freedom, and I reclaim my power. And let me read the word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for shining light on the painful but necessary truth of domestic violence. We lift up every survivor, every silent sufferer, and every listener who may be carrying hidden wounds. Lord, bring healing where there is brokenness, strength where there is fear, and freedom where there has been bondage. Remind each heart that they are not defined by abuse, but by your love and purpose. Surround them with safety, with voices of encouragement, and with the courage to walk in freedom. May this conversation be a seed of hope, a source of strength, and a reminder that they are worthy of love, protection, and peace. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So
Amen.
before I state our closing statement, Faith, would you like to tell the listeners about the ebook? Okay, guys. So we do have an ebook. I'm just not sure the title.
Keep getting it.
We do have an ebook. I'll just leave it in the comments, or I'll post it on the social media pages as well regarding the ebook, where you could, read our stories, find some healing in there, everything like that. Okay, so tonight episode was heavy, but it was necessary. Domestic violence thrives in silence, but silence ends here. To every survivor listening, you are more than what happened to you. You are strong, you are loved, and you are worthy of a future filled with peace and joy. Thank you for tuning in to Righteously Unfiltered and Unshaken. If this episode spoke with you, share it with someone who may need to hear it. And remember, healing is possible and your voice matters. Stay righteous, stay bold, stay unfiltered. Until next time, love you, ladies. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.